Hey everyone, welcome back. It's been a while, and I thought as the T20 World Cup is happening, I'll just bring in another video. And today we have a friend with us, and I just want to introduce Travis. He'll talk about himself first. Travis, up to you. Yeah.
Hello, India. My name's Travis. I'm from the USA. Ohio is the actual state I live in. Um, in this video, you can see that I look like a thumb with a beard. So, you know, please keep that in mind and don't make fun of me. This is my good friend Arzan, and we're just here to talk about cricket and just everyday things.
Yep. That's so cool, Travis. I just like before we go on with anything, I just wanted to ask you do you know what my channel is about? Like, it's about cricket, right?
Right, right.
And
I
my
don't
first
know.
yeah, my first question is, do you know anything about cricket?
No, see, in the U.S., we don't follow cricket much. It's basically our three main sports are basketball, baseball, and football. Um, the only thing I knew about crickets were they were like insects, so I assumed they were kind of like grasshoppers. So excuse my ignorance. But yeah, I'd like to learn more.
The World Cup T20 is happening at your place in US. Are you familiar with it? Is there a hype over there?
Um, there really isn't any hype at all. Prior to this video, I started YouTubing about cricket, and the British, they're talking about the World Cup and everything, but I haven't seen any American channels or videos or anything like that even talking about it at all. So I would say the majority of the U.S. is completely oblivious.
Oh, right.
I have no clue.
Mm-hmm.
I even asked my dad. I was like, he's an older guy, and I was like, hey, what do you know about cricket? He said, I know nothing about cricket.
Cool.
So, with
Yeah.
cricket, is there any way to cheat in the game?
Wow, that's a very sensitive topic to talk about right
Okay.
okay, to answer it simply, there are a lot of ways you can cheat, but I don't want to talk about it right now.
Okay, it sounds good. Sounds
Yeah,
good.
because there has been instance of match fixing scandals throughout.
Hmm.
Like, there has been a few instances, and I don't know. It's kind of very sensitive, and it's something like the cricket boards, and also the International Cricket Council are looking at it seriously. Uh, I have I don't have much clue about it right now. What's the status? And to be honest, I don't know.
Like,
But yeah,
so
it. The one thing is for sure, there is a lot of money involved. That's all I can say. Cricket has a lot of money
I
involved.
guess
Yeah.
I just, I'm so naive with the
Mm-hmm.
culture and everything. I was just kind of curious because I didn't know if you got caught cheating, if you lost your dominant cricket hand,
Mm-hmm.
if it just got kind of just chopped off, or I'm not sure. But I know in the U.S., if you get caught cheating in Vegas, at least many years ago, there's repercussions there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when it comes to sports, cheating has gone on probably since the beginning of sports.
True.
Like in India, nobody really talks about it, and
True.
it kind of gets brushed under the rug. Um, but yeah, I kind of found that interesting. Now I do, vaguely aware of this whole World Cup thing. So I'm assuming that there's not that many, actual American players on Team USA.
Mm-hmm.
So did we recruit some players from India and everywhere else? Since
I guess I just went through the squad of US, and I saw some faces, like faces in the sense, like Indian faces. I don't know whether there are any other nationalities, but Indian. So there are a few Indians who have represented India in the junior categories. Under 19, they have represented India in the under 19 categories. and I guess the captain is also from India. I'm not sure. I guess so, and I guess there are a few players who are not born and brought up in US, but they are somehow eligible to play for US. I don't know what's the process or procedure. I don't know whether they have converted themselves to the citizens of US, but right now they are representing US. I don't know much in detail, but yeah, like you asked, I don't know the ratio for sure, but there are a few players from other nationalities or players who are not born in US. That's
But
how
see,
I
that
can say.
makes sense because, like, with the U.S. being a very competitive nation,
Hmm.
what we do is, we're going to take players from anywhere just so we
Hmm.
can win. So
Okay. And that's
don't be shocked if, Team US ends up winning this whole cricket thing.
that will be that will be. I mean, it won't be a surprise because recently there's been a tournament. Like I don't know where it happened. I guess in US only. They had a tournament against Bangladesh, which is Bangladesh is maybe ranked eighth or like they are in the top 10. They're the top 10 cricketing. Like there are a few only. There is only about 10 or 10, maybe 10 like really good teams, and they won among them. And recently, USA beat Bangladesh, which is a huge thing. Like they beat Bangladesh. They were leading in a 3-day match series 2-0, and they lost the final match, but still winning the series against Bangladesh, and that too against a like strong Bangladesh team, it's a huge thing for US. And I guess,
Gotcha.
yeah, I mean, no, still no one. It's like cricketing world is like, oh, that's one of the greatest upsets so far. It's like just before the
Hmm.
World Cup. I mean, this US team, like, no one didn't give them a chance, but right now they have beaten one of the like. It's a Bangladesh do really well. I mean, they are in that consistent, but still they do well. And beating Bangladesh is a huge thing for US, and we might see some upsets. I'm like T20 has got that unique character, like unique thing, like it can create upsets. But it's a very shorter format, and it can bring it. It always brings in a lot of upsets, and that's where
See,
the small nations can really perform better. Like they, if it's their day, they can upset really good teams. This
so
particular
it's like
format.
I was like, stating earlier about like, the U.S. usually with sports will bring in, other players from other countries. But, you look at things like the Olympics, okay?
Hmm.
So say we had an Indian basketball player, for
Okay.
instance. Most likely, he would not represent the U.S., he would
Hmm.
actually represent India.
Yeah.
So it's a little different there, per
Okay.
se. Um, but, if the U.S. ends up like winning this entire thing, I would definitely ask the council to look into doping.
The odds of that happening is quite low because even though it can happen, they can upset one game, maybe two games. But winning the tournament, it's a huge tournament also. Like they have got a lot of games. But even winning one game will be a huge thing for US cricket. And I guess they will be
Okay.
pretty happy with that performance. Like if they can do well, even if they don't win matches, if they can really perform well in this big stage, that will be a huge thing. And I guess that will be really
Gotcha.
something we like all the cricketing world will be looking up to. All these smaller nations, like the new nations who are just into cricket, how they are doing well, how their players are performing, and
So who's like ranked number one in cricket right now?
so I guess in T20, I don't know whether is it India. Oh, that will be like, oh, you don't know who's the world number one team right now. I'm not following that much the rankings as that much. But I guess if you bring the top four teams, it will be India, Australia, then New Zealand really plays well in this kind of World Cups, and Pakistan is also it's a very good team, has got a very good team. Then South Africa, England is also England is the current champions. England are the current champions. So they
Now,
yeah
now, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt,
no
but
worries yeah
now cricket actually started in England, correct?
true yeah
Okay, okay. That's the only cricket knowledge I know. So that's
yeah. So you might have noticed like there's a particular pattern. Like all these Commonwealth countries, they do play cricket. South Africa, Zimbabwe, Australia, New Zealand, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. All these countries where British ruled, cricket is played. So where,
okay. I
yeah.
got you.
So wherever there was British colonizations, cricket is played, and I guess that's why cricket. I don't know whether for a very particular time it was only restricted to these particular nations, and even I guess it has recently grown somewhere into the Europe and all. Like I've seen people like Italy, countries like Italy, Belgium having teams like they are participating. But earlier it used to be just like the top 10 nations where where there were like British colonies. Yeah, if I'm not wrong, maybe
Oh,
there might be. Yeah, but this is my to my
okay.
knowledge. Yeah.
I want to say, and I'm not, entirely sure on this,
Mm-hmm.
but I do believe that, like, where cricket could be more popular in the U.S. is probably in like country clubs and such.
Mm-hmm.
People that have more wealth per
Mm-hmm.
se. I could
Mm-hmm.
see them, playing, cricket just like I see them, playing tennis. Like I grew up playing tennis, um, and like yeah, it seems more like a country club type sport,
Mm-hmm.
and not so like obviously mainstream. What would be interesting to me is I am kind of curious to see if it's like what channel it would be televised in the
Oh.
U.S. Our biggest like sports network is called ESPN,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if they would pick it up
Mm-hmm.
or if it would just be a highlight. It would be nice if they actually picked up a match just so it could kind of educate the U.S. a bit more about the sport in general because, like I stated, we don't really know much about it.
I got it. I get it. I completely understand. Like it'll be just like for Indians if you bring in baseball. Like
Hmm.
though we might be knowing okay the nature of the game, still we need to know in depth, right? How each thing is performed. Like I'm not saying that people won't be knowing baseball, but for the larger portion, like the majority, it will be a new game. It will be a foreign thing, and it will be
Hmm.
really good if they can like educate like you said, people of US about cricket. And I guess the channel which will be broadcasting in US and Canada is Willow TV. Have you heard about that? It's a particular channel which broadcast cricket in US and Canada.
No, I'm not familiar with that.
I think
I'll
it
tell you this:
yeah. They only
it's not a
broadcast
main
cricket.
channel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a main channel.
Yeah.
Like
It's a paid
that's not
channel.
like the big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like we'll have like ESPN,
Yeah,
one, ESPN two.
I get it.
Um, Sometimes like Fox Sports, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Those are like primary U.S. channels. So yeah, that one I'm definitely not familiar with.
Yeah, I guess that's the. But your point is valid. Like, how can people who are not familiar with cricket educate themselves? I guess they should have put in more effort. Like the
Yeah.
organizing committee, like the ICC, should have put in some effort to have some workshops or something where people are like brought into the grounds. Like they do their groundworks in other countries, but I wonder why they might have done it. But like now, as you're saying that it hasn't reached you or the people around you,
Hmm.
it means that there has been some lack in that aspect. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see it grow. To be honest with you, like it would be interesting to see like a new sport kind of emerge in the U.S. that actually, gain some traction. Or any like world renowned like cricket players, like as far as that, they've been around for 10, 15 years per se.
Yeah.
Or like, is it a game that is like more of a young man's game? Like, are there older people that are actually professionals, or?
Oh, I guess one of the like, if you ask any like any Indian like who is their favorite cricket player, there will be like a few players, a few names will come up. So first will be Sachin Tendulkar. He is the god
Okay.
of cricket. He got retired like maybe 10, 12 years ago, and he's still the god of
Okay.
cricket. People do consider him as the god of cricket. So,
Gotcha. Okay.
so that's the first name when you ask any person, like let it be. I think I don't know about the younger generation. For younger generation, there's another guy called Virat Kohli.
Mm-hmm.
He's also like the one of the greatest cricketer, and those two are the names. If you ask like which comes up out of everyone's mouth, and there is one more which is like MS Dhoni,
Mm-hmm.
and he was a captain who like we won the World Cup. India won the World Cup, T20 World Cup, this particular tournament World Cup in 2007, and he was the captain.
Okay.
He just revolutionized the cricket in India again, I would say. It was like India cricket has been always been a big thing in India, but we weren't winning the cup, World Cup, which is a huge thing. So we won it in
Okay.
'83, and it took a long time to win it again, and he did it. And he's just and these people are like a fan following like anything. You will be surprised like anything if you get to know about their fan following. And it's
Oh, I'm
sometimes
sure.
sometimes it's so crazy. I'm like, okay. I wonder whether it happens in other sports in US. I don't know. I don't know much about.
Oh, I mean, yeah, like, I mentioned LeBron James
Mm,
earlier, like, you have your Michael Jordans, like, I mean, every sport has pretty much kind of like a GOAT per se
mm,
that comes, and goes, throughout the years. Like in the U.S., like one of the biggest things that is talked about in basketball, which will be talked about probably till the end of days for at least most people's lifespan, is who's the better basketball player,
uh-huh,
Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. It's always a huge
yeah,
competition there.
yeah.
What I did want to ask you about cricket, like, okay, so like in the U.S., for instance, at a very young age, like a lot of people will compete
Mm-hmm.
as far as like in basketball, in baseball, in football, like with the goal of becoming a professional athlete. Is that the same with cricket in India?
Yeah, it's like yes, it is. It's like it's a ticket to a better living. I would say that.
Right.
Like there are a lot of stories where people from like very low financial backgrounds and low poor living conditions they have excelled in life just because of cricket. They
Same in the
are
U.S.
yeah, and those are the people who like I've seen a lot of people who do really excel, like who do really well in cricket because they have seen a lot of lot of adverse things in life, and when it comes to their mental toughness, I don't think no one would be able to compete with them regarding as with respect to mental toughness. That's why I believe they excel, and I guess it's just like cricket is such a big thing. Like if you're talented, but it's just like I mean there are like more than 100 crore people in India. Like 100, like you won't be able to like crore million. What 1 million is how much? Like 10. I just want to like I know don't mean
Basically, it's 100,000
100,000.
10 times over.
All right. So how can I think it's just that. I think yeah. I would say 1 billion people over here. More than 1 billion people over here, and most of them want to be a cricketer. So imagine
Wow.
the competition. Like if you want to be there, you have to be the best of the best. That's the thing. That's the deal.
Right.
Even there are so much like even if India produces like a B team, maybe a C team, they will be able to defeat the topmost teams.
Things like that. Like, obviously we have, professional players that, have came from, very good areas.
Mm.
But the ones that have came from, say, some like inner city, like not so good areas per se, that it was basically that was their way out of,
Mm.
the
Yeah,
rough areas,
yeah, yeah.
and those types of people players tend to have like way more grit. Like they're stronger because they've, like you
Seen.
stated, like they've overcame so much to get where they are.
True. I get that.
And those are usually like that's where the all stars come in. I'll be honest with you. Like I can't think of like one NBA or even like NFL player that was NFL. I'll say Tom Brady. I don't think he was underprivileged by any way, but for the most part, it is usually the people that have struggled in life, and that was their way out. And they worked hard, and they tend to work harder. To be completely honest with you, because nothing is given to them.
True.
Like in India, it's like I know for a fact just by talking to you and like our conversations in the past, it is very difficult to make it,
True.
and it's the same in the U.S. in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people think that our countries are so different, and I'm really glad that we have our friendship and we're able to have these type of like open dialogues,
Yep.
just so like the people of India can, see what it's like, somewhat like to be in like the U.S. and some of our cultures, and same with the people of the U.S. because a lot of my friends like know nobody from India, and it's just I think that there's a lot of closed mindedness.
Interesting aspect. I just thought about it. Like US will be in the same group as India, and we will like Indians and the US will be competing against each other in the group stage, and yeah, obviously.
Well, I'll just say this, if India does beat the U.S., like I'm not going to talk to you for like a week. I'm just letting you know. Just joking, people. This is just
Yeah.
in jest. But but we are. I will warn you guys now, though. Like we are extremely competitive when it comes to sports here.
Yeah. True.
That is one aspect that is just like drilled into us at like a young age. Like you have to be the best, and yeah, I'd be very interested to see. Um, I mean, just from this conversation, I'm kind of curious about the game itself, just because I like learning new things from other cultures, and I have once again no clue about cricket
Yeah.
in general.
I guess we can have these conversations. Yeah, we can have these conversations frequently, and we can learn about the cricket, and yeah, we can have this conversation going throughout the World Cup, and it will be really
Yeah,
nice. Yeah, I mean, I
sounds
can.
good to me.
Yeah, if let's say if someone watches, like someone from US watches about this particular or watches this video and asks you, hey, I saw your video and what were you talking about this particular cricket? I mean, thing. I mean, that would be also nice, right? I'm doing my part.
Yeah,
At least I'm educating one person in US about the cricket.
right, right.
That would be nice,
Yeah,
right?
I was totally oblivious until we just were randomly talking one day, and you had mentioned cricket, and I was just like, tell me more about it because
Yeah,
yeah, like I said, we've got the big three here, and that's it.
yeah,
Like soccer, even is like it's more of an
yeah,
international thing. I mean, we do have people that are really into soccer, but not so much.
yeah. I guess just to clarify, in India, football is soccer.
Right, right,
Yeah, and I think the football you're talking about is American football, right?
correct, correct.
So I just know that they put helmets when they're playing. That's all the thing I know about it. Apart from that,
Yeah.
I don't know anything else. And I just know rugby. Is it similar to rugby? Kind of.
Um,
It's a contact sport. That's all I know.
no, it's a contact sport. Both are contact sports, obviously. The main difference, I mean, there's several differences between the two. My cousin, for instance, actually played rugby in college at a collegiate level. But with rugby, you have like different types of like huddles per se. You can pass the ball multiple times, whereas in football, it's just basically like you either do like a handoff or a pass. Um, it's not. It's really out of all the sports, I would say football is probably the easiest to like learn.
No.
To be honest with you, like if you and I were watching a football game, I could pretty much explain the
Oh,
game while we watch.
oh, right.
And after the game was over, I feel like you'd have a pretty good grasp on the
Okay.
sport itself.
Cool.
Whereas like baseball, basketball, um, there's a lot of like little like technical
Yeah.
things. So it's like football is pretty straightforward.
True.
Basically, there's 100 yards, and you just have to make it into your opponent's end zone.
Mm-hmm.
And then after you score a touchdown, you have the opportunity to either it's called a 2 point conversion,
Mm-hmm.
which it's basically you either hand off the football or you pass the football, attempting to try to get in the other person's end zone again,
Mm-hmm.
or you actually kick what's called a field goal.
All right.
So, and that's only worth 1 point.
Okay, one more
But
thing. These all are foreign things to me, and I'm not getting it.
okay, okay, yeah, like I said, it would be way
Yeah,
easier to
to understand what
have the
like.
visual.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like yeah, I completely understand. Even like you said, if it's a simple game, and even I'm finding it difficult. Imagine to think about any other complicated game. So I completely understand about cricket and other sports. But yeah, like you said, if there was much awareness, or like just like people should put effort to like teach others about the game. That's all. Like yeah,
Hmm.
that'll be really nice. Mm,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, why not? Like, it's another form of entertainment. It's another form of knowledge.
mm-hmm.
We've had conversations before where it's like we've learned so much about each other's cultures
True.
that we would never learn, like in the past.
Yeah.
So that is one good thing about, the internet, and like the ability to, meet people from, other cultures, other religions, um, other nationalities, you name it. Like, as long as people are open to do so.
True.
And that's, my big thing is like, I'll talk to anybody because I want to learn about, say, your country, or like your delicacies, or whatever the case may be. Because at the end of the day, knowledge is power, and I'm not going to be stuck in just, I love the U.S., but it's a bubble. Like, we only know what is pretty much around here. Like, yeah, we have like Indian restaurants, for instance, but I'm sure there's different dishes in our Indian restaurants that, like, if you saw the dish, because you've shown me some of your dishes, that they look nothing alike. So they're probably more Americanized in
True.
nature.
True. Yeah, that's always there. Yeah, I mean it's always even I think that's what this particular World Cup is quite different, because they are playing in a country which is quite foreign to every nation. They have never played in US, and it will be kind of a challenge. They don't know how it will play out. They don't know how the surface, like the pitch, like how the conditions will be. They don't know. They don't have
Mm-hmm.
much clue. So it's kind of a challenge, and it's also might be a good learning for them, like a new learning, which they have never experienced before. Like you said, it's
Right.
always about learning, and I mean, obviously they are professionals. They will adapt to any conditions. But for us,
Right.
but for me personally, that will be a nice thing to look up to. Hey, how are they catching up on the new things? Like, how are they adapting? How are they learning about the new stuff? So that'll be something I'll be always eager to like look into. Like, yeah, they are in foreign conditions. How are they adapting? What all strategies they did take? Like in a like which was different from their previous instances. So these things will be something I'll be really looking forward to. How each team like do things differently in certain
Mm-hmm.
situations. So that will be something I'll be looking forward to. And I guess also like all the professional players, all these sports, everyone like they are always eager to learn. They are always like, let it be any sport. They always, and I guess for us also, if we can just inculcate that habit, that'd be really nice.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm curious just to watch the game and then ask you what's going on. To be completely honest with you, because I'm not going to have a clue. I mean, is it pretty easy though to pick up on? Like, is it kind of like, or does it take some time to kind of get,
Uh,
the ins and outs of it?
I guess as you are kind of familiar with baseball, it
Mm-hmm.
won't be that hard, because I'll be like, okay, even though I don't know much about baseball, I can maybe we can find some common grounds. Hey, like home run, like I just know home run, which is kind of similar
Mm-hmm.
to we have called something called six. So there are a few similarities, I guess that the knowledge of baseball can be helpful. I'm not sure completely, but anyway, it's just like a few things will be kind of similar and which will be helpful. Let's say you don't know about anything about baseball, then it will be damn hard to understand. But
I
having
got you.
said that,
Okay.
if you just enjoy the hitting part or the bowling part, that's all. Like it's all about having fun. It's just that you don't have to know everything in detail. I mean,
Right, right.
let's say some of the sports I see for fun. Maybe what else? Like F1, Formula One. I used to watch it. I mean, it was fun. I just Formula
Hmm.
One car driving, like, I mean, racing. It's just like, yeah, I don't know the technical aspects, but it's nice to see car going in tremendous speeds. Like, how they manipulate, like, how do they drive in such 300 kilometer per hour? I don't know.
Oh, that's always intrigued me, but it's like I found it boring, to be
Uh-huh.
honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, okay, you're watching these cars going in circles, like for lap after lap after lap, and this is something that it's like always bothered me. It's like people watch out for the wrecks. Like that's like the most exciting part, and I'm like, it bothers me like morally. I'm like, I don't want to watch.
Yeah.
Like it bores me to watch them go in circles. Like I think it would be amazing to actually go out there, jump in one of the cars, and actually do it. Just because, but like the speed and all that, I'm
Yeah.
sure it would be like quite the adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
But NASCAR, for instance, I mean that is big in the U.S. It's
Yeah.
just it varies by state for the most part. Like just like everything else, like certain states are more prone to watch NASCAR than others.
Okay.
But yeah, myself, I've just always kind of found it boring. It's
Okay.
like I'm watching 500 laps, and I may or may not have like fallen asleep before doing it. So
I completely understand. Because I haven't seen Formula One racing for the cup. Like it's been a while. It's been a few years. But when I used to watch,
Mhm.
it was like something which is like, yeah, it's fun. Like to see someone overtaking the car. So like the strategy of the pit stop. It was like I didn't know much about it, but still, it was fun to watch. I was hooked. I was like, oh,
Mhm.
I was like, oh yeah, it's a Sunday. Let me watch the race. That kind of a sort of a thing.
Yeah.
So it's just that with sports, if you're having fun, if you're enjoying it, I mean, you don't have to go in depth. Like it's up to you whether you want to learn more or you just want to have fun. So
Right, right.
yeah, I guess there's a few like I just recently came up with this sports called paddle tennis, uh, which is like with a small bat with a small like I don't know whether it's
Oh,
called paddle tennis.
it's not called battle tennis here. Oh, that's going to drive me nuts because it's actually gaining popularity here
Yeah,
in the
it
U.S.
is.
like
It
big
is.
time.
It is.
And oh man, I wish
Uh,
I could remember the name of it.
I think here it's called paddle tennis. It's I don't know, and it looks
Yeah.
really good. Like I just wanted. I had never tried tennis. That's one sport I really want to try.
Oh,
And this thing is like
tennis is.
yeah. Go on, yeah,
Let
tennis.
me tell you something about tennis. Like tennis is because I played in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I love tennis, and what I like about it is it's one on one.
Yeah.
All right. So it's like a lot of these like professional sports. If somebody's having a bad game or whatever, you can blame. Oh, so and so had a bad game. In tennis, it's like if you have a bad game, you have to blame yourself.
Mm,
Like it's just
yeah.
the tenacity and like you have to be like honest with yourself. Like, and I've always enjoyed that aspect of it, where it's just like okay, it's myself versus the opponent.
Mm,
Um, and there's no excuses.
true.
If you lose, it's on
Yeah,
you.
it's
It's
on
not. You
you.
can't sit there and point the finger at anybody else, which shouldn't even be the case in sports in general, if you want my honest opinion. But it tends to be. Like people will blame, like, oh well, so and so had the flu or so and so had a
Yeah.
sprained ankle. In tennis, if you have a bad game, you just have a bad game and you move on from it.
True. True. Yeah. Yeah. I completely understand. Any particular player you used to follow or still follow?
Oh, when I was a kid, Andre Agassi.
I guess. Okay. I
Andre
mean, now
Agassi,
now I
Pete
got why you
Sampras.
still have got that hairstyle.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, he,
he had the golden locks there for years,
yeah,
and when he shaked his head, I was just, yep, it's done. I'm done. But no, Agassi,
yeah,
he had a great run,
true.
and he was kind of like he wasn't your typical tennis player,
He has got for me he has got that character, right? He is
Mm-hmm.
that's what
Oh yeah,
attracts people. Like he obviously is an
oh yeah.
amazing player, but he has got some character which attracts people.
Biggest opponent or rival back then was Pete Sampras,
Sampras, yeah,
and Sampras, that's more of your polished, everyday tennis player.
yeah,
Like when I played in high school, I had a tattoo on my calf, which was not normal. I used to wear a backwards cap, which was not normal. But so like I just gravitated towards Agassi because that's not like your like I said, quote unquote
yeah,
country club polished player. Like
yeah,
Sampras was an amazing. Sampras is
yeah.
always going to go down as one of the best players
Yeah,
ever, but he was polished. That's your
yeah,
stereotypical tennis. Like that's what kind of cracks me up is as far as like some of the I wouldn't want to say smaller games, but smaller games as far as like American scale is concerned. Like cricket, we've never really like focused on it. So I am kind of interesting to see like after this World Cup, since it is hosted in like the U.S., if it is going to gain traction.
yeah,
And yeah, it may very well be, and I think that might be why they're doing it here. To be
yeah,
completely honest with you.
yeah. All those
Oh, and that battle tennis is actually called pickleball here.
pickle, pick,
Pickle,
pickles. Okay, all right.
like the actual, like vegetable. I don't know
Yeah, yeah,
why.
yeah.
There's
Okay,
no
yeah.
there's no pickles present, but
Okay.
it's called pickleball. So
Cool. All right, pickle. I can. Okay, I just have to try it once. Yes, yeah, we did talk about a lot. We just went from cricket to other sports, but it was nice. It was really nice to know your perspective. We can keep on going about talking about this stuff. We can do it during the World Cup and how. Anyway, the first match will be between US and Canada happening on June 1st. Will be
okay,
something I'll be eager to watch because I just want to know. Like I just want to see how US perform. Like how many people turn up in the stadium and
right.
how they are how they like how all the settings and organizations are there in US. And yeah, we can talk about it once match gets over. Yeah, we can do this often. There's no we can talk about your perspective about cricket, and we can you can I can educate you about cricket more, and you can also educate me about other sports. Which will
All right, John. Great talking to you. Thank you for letting me know about like cricket and like the insides and the outs of the game. Like I really do appreciate it.
same here, same here. It was amazing talking with you, and we will do this often. It's been I
Sounds
have a
good.
fun
Sounds
time.
good.
Yeah, I mean we'll talk about cricket and other stuff, and I guess the first let's see how US perform in their first game, and all the best.
Yeah. Likewise. Right back at you. All right,
All
buddy.
right, take
I'll
care.
talk to you soon.
Sure,
All
sure.
right,
Bye.
later.